Before we begin, I've just got something to share with you all. We've reached 500 subscribers, and I can't believe it. Thank you, each and every one of you, for allowing me to make these videos. I'm having a blast making them, and if even just a single person found my videos entertaining or helpful, then this is all worth it. Now, on to 1,000 subscribers. Trigun's back, but different. The original Trigun came out back in 1998, and to this day, it's considered to be one of the best action anime of all time. It's a 90s classic with a brilliant mix of comedy and drama, and a cast so memorable and beloved that the show doesn't feel complete without even a single one of them. However, Trigun's main selling point's the main character, Vash the Stampede, arguably one of the coolest, most badass, and funniest main characters in anime. So when it was announced that Trigun's coming back, you could imagine the fans' excitement. Now, jump ahead to 2023, with Trigun Stampede's release, and the reception is mixed to say the least. Trigun Stampede's not a one-to-one remake of the original. It's a new take on the classic, and it turned out to be one of the most controversial anime this season. So let's talk about Trigun Stampede, and how it's different from Trigun. Let's start with the obvious change, the art style and character design. Yes, Trigun Stampede is a 3D CG anime, and with that comes the stigma associated with the CG anime. However, Trigun Stampede is animated by Studio Orange, who I consider to be the best studio in making 3D anime, and they're the studio that actually convinced me that 3D anime can actually be amazing, with shows like Hoseki no Kuni or Land of the Lustrous and Beastars. Two great shows that actually use the 3D art style to their advantage, and the same can be said with Trigun Stampede. I'm not gonna lie, at first, I thought it was rough, especially after seeing young Vash. But after seeing the final moments of episode 1, and especially after the duel scene and how fluid it is, I was sold on the art style completely. But that's not the case for everybody. A lot of people prefer the old art style. The original Trigun was animated by Studio Madhouse, a name that needs no introduction in the anime industry. The 90s anime aesthetic is iconic, and Trigun fits that mold perfectly, so it's no wonder that some people prefer the old style. However, don't kick the new style to the curb just yet. It may start out a little rough, but after seeing what it's capable of, I'm sure you'll like it. Vash's character design, however, is another story. Vash got a new modern look in Trigun Stampede, with a new haircut, different glasses, and a new jacket. And although the new design isn't bad, I've got to admit that his look back in the 90s was the definition of cool. I know that they changed him to make him look more modern, but I prefer his old look way more. The second obvious change is Trigun Stampede's take on the story. It's not a remake, it's a reboot, and things are a bit different from the original, which was kind of a slow burn. In the original Trigun, it takes some time for us to get to know Vash and his backstory. The first half of the show is more of a comedy.
I found him! Over there! Perfect shot!
And it may turn off some people with its silliness, but in the second half, we get to know Vash and the cast more and see why Vash is considered to be one of the best main characters in anime. Trigun Stampede, however, hits us with Vash's backstory right away. He isn't shrouded with the same mystery as in the 90s. We learn right away about Vash and Million Knives, his twin brother. The changes in the story gives a very different atmosphere and feel to the shows, which actually may be the biggest difference between the two. The 90s Trigun got a slower pace and a kind of comedic atmosphere around it, but Trigun Stampede feels much more serious in comparison. It still has some comedic moments, but putting them side by side, it's like night and day, and as someone who watched the original Trigun a while ago, these changes are actually welcome and a breath of fresh air. Just watching the old anime with a fresh coat of paint would honestly be boring, so seeing a different take on a classic's actually one of Trigun Stampede's strong suits. However, if you're a fan of Trigun, then there's a question that each and every one of us has been asking since the beginning of Trigun Stampede. Where's Millie?
Shucks.
It's one of the biggest and most noticeable changes in Trigun Stampede. Millie's been replaced by Roberto De Niro, a jaded reporter for the Bernardelli news agency, and Meryl's mentor of sorts, which gives a very different dynamic to Meryl. Meryl was the de facto leader of the duo back in the original, while Millie was her clumsy and humorous junior, but now, Meryl's the junior, and that's one aspect that Trigun Stampede doesn't even come close to Trigun. Millie was a huge part of why Trigun was so hilarious, and with her gone, Trigun Stampede just feels like it's missing something. I don't hate De Niro, but he's no Millie. Trigun and Trigun Stampede are very different shows, and that's a good thing. I know that Trigun Stampede's very divisive between the fanbase, and it's easy to see why. It's basically its own show, and it may be difficult to enjoy Trigun Stampede without comparing it with the original. However, I'm of the mind that Trigun Stampede isn't a substitute to the original Trigun. They each do their own thing, and honestly, if you want a Trigun Stampede to be just like the original, then just watch the original. It took a risk in trying to be different, and even if it's got its fans divided, I think it paid off. I'm enjoying Trigun Stampede very much, and if you can look past its differences, then I'm sure you'll like it too. Although, the second episode didn't help. Thank you guys for watching, and once again, thank you for the 500 subscribers. The channel's come a long way, but we still have a lot more to go, and now, I'm focused on my next target of 1,000 subscribers. But until then, this has been Enio, and until next time, matane.